All right, one of the first activities that you're going to do once you're done with watching the line video is the line sample page. The page is pretty simple in that all you're doing is drawing in various types of lines that you just learned about. First thing you're going to do though is put your name on it. So for this one I'm going to write down Miss Vic. After a while all these papers start to look alike, so you want to make sure that you have your name on it. The first type of line that you're going to be drawing is vertical. Now remember, vertical is the ones that go up and down. So for vertical, you're going to draw a long vertical line. So it goes from one side of the box to the other. You're going to draw a thick vertical long line. So we're going to give it a little bit of width, and we're going to pencil that in, like so. You're then going to draw a thin vertical line, so we're going to use our light. We're going to make that maybe medium size. Since we've already done a long, we're going to do a short vertical line, and then we're going to do a short but thick vertical line. So we're going to draw some width to that, and yet again we're going to color in the version of our line. So when we're done, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do the same thing now in the horizontal box. So we're going to create a horizontal line. Remember, we can go left to right, right to left. We're going to create a long horizontal line, just a regular line. We're going to create a thick horizontal line. I'm going to give it some depth, and I'm going to color that in. I'm going to turn my paper here a little bit so I can do this a little bit easier. So, pardon me now. I'm using my home webcam today to try to do this. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be working out as well, but you guys can kind of get the idea. Alright, so then we're going to draw a very thin, maybe medium-sized horizontal line. And then we're going to do a short horizontal line, which is maybe half that size. And then we're going to do a short, thick horizontal line, kind of like a minus sign. Color that in. So once again, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we're going to do a diagonal line. I know you're not be able to see it very well on my handout, but you should be able to on your handout. So we're going to start off with a long diagonal line. So we're just going to draw a line that goes side to side in the box. We are then going to go with a thick long diagonal line. So we're going to do side to side in the box again. Then we're going to change the weight of the line. Remember the line weights, making them thick or thin. Then we're going to create a thin diagonal line, so we're going to make one be half the size. Do one short, and then we're going to do short but thick. So we're going to add, once again, add some of that depth by creating some thickness, different line weights, and we should once again have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines in there. Now, for your next box, you're going to have a zigzag line. Now zigzag lines are the ones that go up and down like so. So I'm going to create one that's very long, kind of looks like mountains. I'm going to create another one right underneath that's very long like so. But I'm going to change the weight of the line by giving it some thickness. And then I'm going to color that in. So, kind of looking like Bart Simpson's hair. We're then going to create a thin zigzag line. So maybe just one very that long. We're now going to create a very short one. And now we're going to do short and thick. Kind of looks like little lightning bolts right now. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, curved lines, remember, they kind of arc, and they show you like energy, momentum. So we're going to start off with a long curved line. So we're just going to go really long, almost like we're creating a half circle. We're going to go long and thick, so we're going to create the same arc once again, but now we're going to give a little bit of thickness to it. Change the weight of that line so that it's no longer the same line. I'm going to create a thin line. So we're just going to create maybe a smaller, thin version. And then we're going to create a short curved line. And then we're going to create a short but thick curved line. So short again, changing out the weight of that line. Kind of looks like a tunnel or a weird eyeball. Now, the last set, we're kind of creating this thing called line and value. Now, I mentioned cross-hatching before in the video, but I didn't mention anything about hatching. Now, hatching and cross-hatching are both used when we want to create some sort of shadow lines, but we don't want to kind of just color it in all black or smudge our pencil. It actually creates kind of a more movement. We use it for fur, we use it for textures and trees, we use it for a lot of organic things that we want to kind of create this visual of creating some sort of shadow, but not necessarily, like I said, using the smudge technique. So hatching, all you're doing is you're creating thin little lines that go vertical. So for our first one, we're going to do one, we're going to start off really, really close and really, really long. And as we get closer to that light source, we're going to get smaller and farther apart, like so. So once again, we're going to start off really, really tight, very long. As we get closer to where our light source is, we're going to make them smaller and further apart. So in this case, our light source would be the sun and be right here. And so the sun's shining here, and as it goes backwards, it becomes darker and lighter. I'm going to do this a third time, because practice makes perfect. Really, really, really dark. As we get closer to that light source, smaller and further away. Kind of zoom in a little bit. There we go. So you kind of see. All right. Cross hatching, very similar. So once again, our light source is over here. Here's our little sun. And what you're going to do is you're going to start off with your vertical lines again, very, very close together. As we get closer to our sun, smaller, farther apart. But now we're going to go with lines that go across and diagonal to that. Hence why it's called a cross hatching. Right? And you should create some sort of depth there. And the same thing again for the third. 1, 2, 3. Closer to the light source, farther apart. Now we're crossing our lines. Let's see if I can put that in there a little bit better, maybe, maybe not. Nope, not. Alright, I'm going to do that a third time. Okay. Now, you can crosshatch with color, which is what this last piece is about. And when you crosshatch with color, sometimes some really cool things happen. So for instance, I'm going to crosshatch with blue and yellow. Right? So I'm going to always put my lightest color down first. So in this case, I'm going to hatch my yellow. So I'm just going up and down vertical lines, getting close, farther away. And then going to put my blue on top of that. And you'll see in some parts it'll start to look almost green. Same thing again. We'll go with this time with cross hatching, always starting with your lighter color. I'm doing my hatch lines closest to this thing, going down. This time I'm hatching with blue. My diagonals. And it will once again kind of have like this different color effect to it. So that is how you guys are going to finish up the first worksheet and then move on to the second.